Yes, sir. So today we have Dr. Aditya. He's a new candidate this time, and he has agreed to volunteer. He's from Yashoda Hospital,
Okay.
and
Yashoda Hospital, Hyderabad.
Telangana. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Hyderabad.
And the second person we have who has
Yeah,
answered,
Hyderabad, right.
first, he's from Fortis, Bangalore.
Okay.
So Dr. Ishwar,
Okay.
Dr. Aditya.
Dr. Aditya,
Yes, sir.
how is your sir?
It's good, sir. It's fine.
How many consultants are there now?
So right now, two, sir.
Who?
Dr. Suri Babu, sir, and actually Dr. Bipin sir was there from IKD, but he recently left.
Hmm.
So a new consultant has just now came, Dr. KVR Prasad, sir.
I know both. Both. Suribabu is old one.
Yes.
Okay. So we can start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Prashant.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. My patient, 59-year-old lady, housewife, resident of Baikala, Mumbai, Muslim by religion, came with chief complaints of history of passing blood in urine since 1 month back. My patient was apparently all right 1 month back when she had a episode of passage of blood in urine, which was sudden in onset, painless. Color of urine was bright red, and it was same throughout the stream. And she had similar episode 10 days back of similar episode of passing blood in urine 10 days back, and in between these periods she was asymptomatic.
So in short, she had intermittent hematuria. What detail you want to ask about the hematuria, Aditya?
Yes, sir. So, did she have previously any complaints in the past regarding hematuria? If there was any clot in it, if she developed any retention, if there was associated any abdominal pain, vomiting, fever.
So Aditya, I would say that you should first concentrate on the present episode of hematuria, then
Okay,
go into the past. Okay, so when Gita sir asked you the question, what else you want to know about hematuria, then your list of those questions should be ready. Whether it was painful, painless, that he has already told. How many days did the episode last? Was it complete, total, whether terminal or whatever you want to ask about hematuria? Pain in the flank or no flank pain? Any blood thinners? Any trauma? ठीक है?
Yes,
So,
sir.
any history of hematuria in the past? He asked. Prashant.
Hello. Yes, sir. There is no history of past history of hematuria in the past.
Very good. So we can go ahead now. Chalo.
Yes, sir. There is no history of pain. There is no history of passing clots in urine. There is no history of passage of stones in the urine. There is no history of acute retention of urine. There is no history of dysuria. There is no history of trauma. There is no history of any blood thinners. There is no history of any lower urinary tract symptoms. There is no history of weight loss, anorexia, bony pain. There is no history of any lower limb edema or facial puffiness.
So he has given you all the negative history, huh?
Yes.
Okay, we can go ahead. Chalo.
Sir, should I read the history? Okay. In past history, patient is known case of hypertension since 1 year. She is on regular medication for same. She is also known hypothyroidism case and on medication since 10 years. There is no history of diabetes mellitus, TB or TB contact. There is no history of any surgery in the past or intervention. Patient having normal sleep appetite and she's having normal bowel habits and bladder habits are normal except for the 2 episodes of hematuria since 1 month. There is no history of any addiction in the form of tobacco chewing, smoking. Patient take mixed diet. Her appetite is normal. In drug history, patient is taking Thyronorm 50 mg 100 and tablet Amlo 5 mg in morning. Family history is not significant, and in menstrual history, patient is having menopause since 4 years, last 4 years.
Okay, anything else you want to know? Good. Now, you would like to examine the patient?
Sir, in the history, any family history of any malignancies, family history of
Prashant?
personal history of any
no, sir.
malignancies?
No, there is no history of any malignancy or death of relative in recent past of dying because
Not
of any
no
cancer.
family history of malignancy in personal in no family history, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys want to examine the patient? Go ahead,
Yes.
Prashant.
Yes.
Yes, sir. In general examination, patient is conscious, cooperative, well-oriented to time, place, and person. And my patient is averagely built, averagely nourished. Karnofsky score is 90%. Temperature is febrile. Patient is febrile. Pulse is 90. BP is 130 by 80 taken in right arm supine position. Respiratory rate is 20 per minute. There is no pallor, icterus, cyanosis, edema, clubbing, or lymphadenopathy. Skull spine examination is normal.
Sir, can we just discuss the DD based on the history ones? Geete
Yeah.
sir, Hiren sir.
Yeah, we can actually. Sir was saying that we have done this 2-3 times, so we were just trying to run through it quickly.
Okay.
But it's a
So,
good question. Let's go ahead now. So, what do you think, guys? What Madam is asking right now? What do you think from the history? Come
Sir,
on.
consider painless
So basically,
hematuria. So
55-year-old lady,
Yeah.
hypertensive with hematuria.
it could be number one differential diagnosis could be an urothelial malignancy, either lower tract or upper tract, or it can be an renal mass. Okay, or could be a stone disease,
Hmm.
and also down the order can be in GUTB.
So, what all you said? Renal mass first.
Urothelial malignancy, either upper or lower
Urothelial,
tract,
upper lower.
Very good. Very good.
and renal mass, stone disease, genitourinary tuberculosis.
Right.
Any as a down the order rare cause, as a rare cause if considered for the hematuria, any associated arteriovenous malformations, or
Yeah. Good. No history of trauma. So,
but there are but still this can be
Yeah.
differential diagnosis. And infection as such, there are no as per the personal history or any present illness, there are no signs symptoms of any infection, so
Right.
could be asymptomatic also. So UTI
Yeah.
also one of the cause might be.
Cystitis is last.
Yes,
Okay.
last.
Good. Good. Okay. So now go into examination.
As per the general examination is concerned, so patient looks on examination looks fine, sir. Vitals normal. On this we can say like vitals are stable, no evidence of infection in present history, whatever examination findings have been given.
Very good. So how will you work
I would
out?
like to see for the systemic examination if anything is there.
Okay.
Please proceed.
Prashant.
Prashant?
All normal.
Yes.
We can't hear you.
Aditya.
Yes, sir. Hello.
No problem. Prashant is, I think, having a problem with the internet. But it's okay. The examination is all normal. Now, what you would like to do, Aditya?
Yes, sir. Sir, the suprapubic, there is no
Nothing,
fullness or
nothing.
something. Right? Yeah. Okay. One other thing that I would like to confirm is her genital examination and the PR examination.
Yeah,
In this,
examination is normal.
is normal. So PR examination, I would like to confirm.
Yeah.
I know that it is hematuria, but I also would like to rule out any vaginal causes of bleeding.
Yeah.
in this
So,
patient.
Prashant, can you hear us? Prashant, go ahead.
With this audio, I think.
Yes, sir. I'll just speak to him. But PR and PV are both normal
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
case.
Yeah.
Yes, and also I would just like to know her this birth history of children history. How many deliveries she had?
How you are correlating this number of deliveries with hematuria?
And now what you are
So
asking
not
about-
exactly number of deliveries, but the number of childbirth that she did. It is hematuria, I agree, but I just want to rule out at least on history if there is any other cause. When was the last delivery that she had? If it was just the number of deliveries
No,
that
no.
she had, and if there was any problem with it.
Now she is a 65-year-old lady.
Okay.
Now that
Okay,
is going to be
that is already menopausal.
and
So
Aditya, after finishing examination, you go back to history, then again you're jumping.
Sir,
And sir is asking you how it is relevant. So before asking question, you should think.
simple. hai.
Sir, as such,
65-year-old lady presented with hematuria.
hematuria. So birth history
Basically,
and this thing has not any,
Two
there is no
to
significance.
2 to 3 diagnoses should come in your mind. That is what you are told is upper or lower urothelial carcinoma is okay.
Correct.
Another is stone disease. Another is probably RCC. Another is probably PUG oblique cystic disease with hematuria. These are the rare possibilities. But what you are told is urothelial malignancy. That is that you have to support with your finding in the patient or with your investigation. What you want to ask to the patient, advice to the patient. So what investigation you want to advise or what investigation you want to ask to the person.
So sir,
Because-
I'll ask.
Because in exam, if you go to that birth history, you will get unnecessarily away from the normal track.
So sir,
So this is totally unwanted thing you have asked.
Yes, sir.
Based on this, the present history and systemic examination, our differential diagnosis will be in the same order, sir. So to support further diagnosis, have to come to the conclusion, I want to evaluate or investigate the patient further.
Go ahead.
So I'll ask for the routine, like a complete blood count, hemogram, and creatinine of the patient, along with bleeding time, clotting time with coagulation profile,
Very good.
and also urine routine microscopy. And considering the age and our diagnosis as a urothelial, I'd also like to get a urine cytology. And as my extended physical examination, I want USG abdomen and pelvis also. So these basic investigation I want. Depending upon these investigation, further I'll evaluate the patient.
Very good. These basic investigations are on your screen. Creatinine, hemoglobin, WBC count, clotting time, bleeding time, INR, culture, no growth.
Prashant, can you give urine routine examination? Culture show no growth. I just want urine routine. Yes.
Yeah, urine routine shows 5 to 10 pus cells, 200 to 250 RBCs, few epithelial, and occult blood positive, bacteria 2 positive, like 2 plus.
The culture is negative. Most likely, patient might have received the antibiotic. There is a hematuria with evidence of infection in present. So urine cytology, I think, if I can get.
So bacteria is there. It's not a present of infection.
A patient has not received any antibiotic.
Yeah.
Squamous epithelial cells are also there, so it might have been contamination.
Contaminated sample.
Correct.
Yes.
Unless culture is positive, you shouldn't document it as infection.
Yes.
Also, albumin, one albumin is present. Creatine also.
Patient is known case of hypertensive. So
Right. So sonography. Other feeling.
Sorry?
Prashant,
About
Cytology is shown.
cytology is
Dino did this.
You can see the cytology.
So the
there are not
cytology paucicellular
negative.
and with squamous epithelial cells and urothelial cells. Background shows few neutrophils, mononuclear inflammatory cells. No malignant.
No malignant and no dyskeratosis.
Okay.
Let's say cytology is not.
What does the positive cytology indicate?
The presence of atypical cells. It might indicate urothelial cancer. However, it is not very specific for it. For high grade cancers, the specificity is good, specifically in urothelial cancer. But however, at least 2 positive cytology should be done. Also, it will help in doing radiological investigations.
When I asked you this question, the first thing I wanted to hear is high grade cancer. Suggest
High grade cancer.
high grade urothelial cancer. Then you can tell about sensitivity and specificity of the test.
And also non-malignant conditions also. Sometimes the false positive urine cytology.
Right.
In case of stone infection, interstitial nephritis, any prior instrumentation, interventions.
Very good. So first thing you should say what it indicates. Second is the sensitivity, specificity, and third
Specific.
the exceptions,
Yes.
like you rightly pointed out. So now see the sonography film. What do you see? Describe the film.
Just say something. Can we hear you? I just want to check.
So, sorry, ma'am.
No, I'm talking to the person who's sharing.
Prashant
Prashanti.
is got muted or what?
No, he's
No,
not.
sir. Prashant is not muted, sir.
It's a little bad. So-
Okay. So this is an outside film. We don't have more details. This is the way it is showing now. Now, what do you see in this film? These two kidneys, can you see?
Side, they have not mentioned, sir. I'm not able to see. In present static image, I can able to see side like shape of the kidney is normal. Size apparently it looks normal. I don't know which side it is, but there is a medullary
Parenchymal.
echogenicity, and the parenchyma looks normal, and there is some echogenic focus. I don't know whether it is upper or lower pole, and also there is a hypervascularity. There is on the last film.
So just above the last, can you see that margin of the kidney there below is not very clear? Like this other kidney on the side, yeah.
Yes, sir.
That there is something going on.
Yes, sir. There is some hypoechoic lesion. I don't
So
know.
you should
Probably.
the border of the border of the kidney is not clear here. Whereas the other image, it's nicely seen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There, ma'am.
Correct. So definitely you can see some process going on here. Okay.
Yes.
Now what would you want to do? Right.
Can I know the report? So I want to see the report.
Tell the report.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yeah, Prashant, we are able to hear you.
The right kidney shows ill-defined focal areas of altered ecotexture in the cortex of lower pole, with area measuring around 4 by 3 centimeter, with alter area upper. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, this alter area upper to extending into the right renal pelvis. It shows mild vascularity on color Doppler imaging. Hello.
Yes. So what do you think it could be now, Aditya?
Sir, it can be a renal cell carcinoma or it can be a urothelial cell carcinoma.
So what would you like to do further now?
Sir, I like to get a CT urography done. Also, along with it, I'll get a CCT abdomen plus pelvis.
Multiphasic CCT abdomen and pelvis.
Very good. Prashant, films.
Yes, sir.
Aditya, see all the films slowly.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll show you again also.
Yeah. Start
Yes.
again, Prashant.
These films you should be able to read.
Yes, ma'am.
Starting now again. Okay.
Yes.
When you want to go to next, you tell us.
Yes. So, sir, this is a CT angiography film depicting the.
Aditya, wait. Let them show all the
Okay.
images.
All.
Okay, sir. Okay.
See the second line correctly. Second line of film.
Yes, sir.
चलो अभी बोलो.
Sir,
Try to read.
this I'll read this film. This is a contrast enhanced image of this CCT abdomen plus pelvis, and I can see the right kidney in this. The right kidney, the parenchyma of the right kidney appears to be normal. However, on the lower pole, there is an endophytic growth, hypodense lesion which is seen. It appears there is and in the expiratory phase, there appears to be a filling defect in the lower pole of the kidney involving the lower calyx extending up to the pelvis, to the pew junction. There appears to be no hydronephrosis.
And also contralateral kidney.
And the contralateral kidney appears to be normal.
Whenever you're seeing a CT, abdomen and pelvis,
Normal side has to be.
would you not start from the plain film? So what is showing in the plain film?
The
Before one slide before.
Can show one side.
That slide which you were showing was the plain film.
Mhm.
Next one.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about the mass and everything, but there is a very tiny stone.
Yes, sir. Upper pole there is a small.
Whenever you start with plain film, don't just directly jump to the tumor. Small, very tiny stone, not significant, but still you should have picked it up. That shows that you have gone through the entire, from up to down, you should have seen. Like starting here, see liver, and then all the vessels. Last time in that class, nicely she told how do you identify aorta, how do you identify vena cava, and then the arterial phase, which you started talking about. Then you talked about endophytic, exophytic, going up to collecting system, then opposite kidney and rest of the organs. If you complete it like this, then you will not miss out anything. So very good. So
Yes.
now what do you think it is? So what type of renal masses are poorly enhancing or you pick up contrast very significant?
Not significantly, sir, urothelial carcinomas and also papillary carcinomas.
So what could be the diagnosis here?
Sir, it looks like more as a urothelial carcinoma, sir, because it is endophytic, it is extending. Renal cell carcinomas are generally found to impingate. It is more of an exophytic growth. This appears predominantly to be an endophytic growth involving the pelvic calyceal system.
Very good.
Also, the patient complained of hematuria, which is more common in urothelial carcinomas rather than RCCs.
What is the reason of quick enhancement in RCC?
Better enhancement, because sir, it is arising from the renal parenchyma. This is arising from the pelvic calyceal system. The blood supply is less.
RCC arise from?
RCC arise from the
proximal convoluted tubules also, most of the distal convoluted tubules.
The early enhancement reason is it is an hypovascular tumor. So because of the neovascularization, there will be early enhancement. Even though there are no functional tubules, there will be early enhancement and early washout. Compared to the normal parenchyma, it enhances but less enhance.
Why early washout?
Because of the vascularization. So there will be early drainage. So normal parenchyma, there will be stagnation and concentration of the contrast. So normal parenchyma.
Why sir is asking why early washout? Good evening, sir.
There could be some arteriovenous
You're right.
fistulas or connections, or because of the neosome. That is the reason there will be an early washout in case of renal cell carcinoma.
What else more information you want to ask from this sheet?
Sir, in this, as per this, any lymph nodes?
Yes.
Any free fluid, lymph nodes, and on given images, liver appears to be normal, and we are not able. I am not able to see any lymph nodes, sir. Actually, I am not able to appreciate.
The vasculature also appears to be normal. However, I thought in the previous slides there was an accessory artery towards the lower pole.
Left side.
I
Left side.
I
there is
don't
one.
remember. That is what I thought. Yes.
Left side there is an
Okay. It's,
accessory.
no, is it
Ganesh?
posterior?
Ganesh,
Yes, sir.
in when the case like this comes in the exam, so how the student should differentiate between RCC and to specify whether it's RCC or
So
whether
CT scan wise, we have the classic
Yes.
example of 10 to 20, matlab 15 to 25 ounce-fill units enhancement of the base level, matlab non-contrast to contrast for an RCC. Hypoenhancing is a question which actually Dr. Hiren had asked. It is also seen in lipid poor AMLs
Yeah, that is
and
what-
very few RCCs with some fat content. I
correct.
mean, they also are, and papillary RCCs, as I think Ishwar or Aditya.
He said papillary, but the other two
Papillary.
are good answer.
Sorry.
So even fat poor AMLs show this hypoenhancing
Correct,
factor.
correct.
So
And
मतलब
also-
exactly इससे नहीं कर सकते, मतलब it still, if we are going to zero on to upper tract, it still needs some corroborative diagnosis.
Correct, correct. That would be the next question now. What will you do, Aditya? Sir already asked you the question.
I had lost connection in between. So we finished sonography and CT, right?
CT is going on, sir.
we
It
can
is
just
So one
Yeah.
question to Aditya is, out of CT MRI, people talk about MR urography also. So why, which we should do and why?
Which cases you will do MR urography? Sir's question is.
And out of two, both facilities available, what will you do?
Would you prefer?
MR urograph. Sir, CT is generally done when the EGFR is greater than 60, CT with contrast. If I'm not able to do that, so MR can be done till 30 EGFR, MR with contrast.
Right.
Uh,
So that's the
yeah.
standard answer of MR CT. But here in case of upper tract, CT has a more than 90% sensitivity specificity.
Sensitive.
100% sensitive and
This
90%.
MRI, which is 75,
So when
80%.
the question is asked, first thing you should tell that CT is the preferred modality.
Yeah, it's preferred modality.
And CT cannot be done. In which condition, that answer you have given.
Because
Okay.
as
Out of the two, sir asked you.
as
you-
in this case, your answer is partly correct, no doubt about it. But you should complete it also.
Go ahead, Aditya. So one thing that the
so
CT.
one minute, Ganesh. So what
Yes,
are the when you will do MRI or when you will expect that student
Sir,
to do MRI?
for any renal mass, unless indicated, matlab because of compulsion, I'll still do a CT only.
Indications of MRI. Then you give the answer. Aditya.
Sorry, sir.
So before Ganesh sir tells the answer, what are the other indications of MRI? So one was that CT is preferred. Second, MRI you will do when the GFR is less than,
Less.
right? There, which other cases would you like to have an MRI? Any other cases? Any other situations? What can happen in RCC?
RCC with IVC
Sir,
thrombus and supposedly
sir, that is-
wall infiltration. So that is
Okay.
another thing.
IVC thrombus with the wall invasion, MRI is better.
Yeah,
In case of
somebody has
wall
written in the chat pregnancy, that is also acceptable. MRI is slightly better.
Correct.
Okay.
Even Ganesh, I remember once you had said that if there is not only infiltration, but you want to find out whether the vessels are involved from outside in any malignancy, then also I think MRI is better. Correct?
Sir, vessel wall soft tissue is seen well, but here if we are going partly in upper tract favor, we are to also diagnose intraluminal lesions. So that is more clearer on the CT somehow. And that is why upper tract sensitivity, specificity very high.
CT urography, as sir is telling, has a very good sensitivity and specificity. So, except some very flat lesions.
Yeah.
Without mass effect, that can be missed by the CT urography. That is one of the lacunae of CT urography. But overall, CT urography and CT scan is excellent investigation for
Yeah.
diagnosis of
So, sir,
upper tract malignancy.
Let's continue his discussion because like sir said just now, very small flat lesions. They can be missed on both imaging.
Yes,
And there will be
agreed.
another modality of investigation which Aditya should tell us.
Yeah.
Bolo.
Yes, Aditya.
Well-
Which is the other investigation for flat lesions when CT and MRI both are not showing?
So cystoscopy plus ureteroscopy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which type of ureteroscopy?
Yeah, can you use something special?
Flexible.
Oh,
Which
okay,
type
sir.
of-
In this flexible ureteroscopy will be better because considering
Flexible, something better.
When you are suspecting upper tract lesion, what is the role of URS?
The question was flat
But-
lesion. So you may go into the pelvis and find nothing. So would you,
urinary barbotage, sir.
would you like to use any particular type of flexible ureteroscope with any?
I'll use okay. Urinary barbotage. I'll use.
No. Ureteroscope. If you want to identify a difficult lesion, would you like to have something special?
Okay.
Narrowband imaging.
Yes, sir.
Narrowband
Optical
imaging.
coherence, narrowband imaging. Yes.
So you should have first said digital scope.
Okay. Digital.
Scope will have you get better vision, and narrowband imaging.
No.
Is narrowband imaging available in every system?
Yes, sir. Only that light source will be available. Only we have to change the mode, sir. So
Olympus digital scopes.
Olympus it has it is the same source. Only we have to change the settings, sir. So
Correct.
narrowband imaging is there. So whenever there is a suspicion with no lesion found, and if still we can go ahead with the ureteroscopy with narrowband imaging light source, so that we can detect the small.
So how will you sequence your evaluation in diagnosis of upper tract malignancy? First is CT urography. CT urography. Okay. Next.
If that is okay, then after that I'll do cystoscopy. Plus, if in CT urography I did not find anything, then cystoscopy plus bilateral URS, flexible URS with imaging, narrowband imaging, and urinary barbotage. And if I'm not finding anything, then I'll take bladder biopsies, mapping bladder biopsies.
So you proceed for bilateral.
Cystoscopy and the cytology from the cavities like PCS on both sides by placing the ureteric catheter from the lumen of the ureter. That should be sent for cytology.
Differential sampling.
Cystoscopy. Suppose cystoscopy is normal, but cytology is positive. What it says?
If sir, cytology from any one of the ureters or the PCS is positive, then I'll suggest it to be a CIS, carcinoma in situ.
Cystoscopy is normal, but cytology is positive.
It could be an upper tract
Three diagnosis.
upper tract TCC, or
Okay.
it can be extravesical disease, maybe in prostate, and also carcinoma in situ.
Yes, prostatic urethral
Prostatic
carcinoma,
urethral carcinoma, carcinoma in situ, and upper tract
CIS in bladder, and upper tract disease.
disease.
Okay.
Second, when you do cystoscopy, you should spend some time and do lateralization. Sometimes you see hematuria coming from one side. It is called lateralization. So you look at both orifices, see the efflux of urine, and then
And
proceed.
take the differential sampling and send separately for the lateralization also, if there is no hematuria.
And role of URS, primary role of URS in diagnosis.
Sir, whenever the imaging is not diagnostic, like CCT is not diagnostic, there is a high suspicion of upper tract TCC with the negative scopy and positive cytology. That is one of the indication. And also
Doing a ureteroscopy, if it is going to impact your management or if it is going
yes,
to
sir.
change your
And if it is
diagnosis,
going to alter,
then only you have to do the ureteroscopy, because doing ureteroscopy prior to any intervention, it will increase the incidence of bladder recurrence.
So what special precautions you will take before putting ureteroscopy inside? Or how you will do the ureteroscopy? Tell me steps.
during the ureteroscopy, if there is cytology positive, so and we evaluate prior with that with the cystoscopy, we evaluate the bladder as an entirety. urethra, prostatic urethra, and also bladder is entered.
ureter में enter करने का है.
And
What will you
ureter, before ureter, we should not park the guide wire. We see the ureteric orifice, put a scope under vision, then park the guide wire with a visual this thing. And if you want to collect the sample before putting the guide wire or before doing any contrast studies, we have to collect the sample. Then put a wire, go, then park the wire and evaluate.
So
And also,
I've been, the cytology collection is fine, but what I wanted to say is that use a very small ureteroscope and try to do atraumatic dilate
smallest scope possible.
Balloons and then you wait in and there is all red. There is no point of doing that ureteroscopy. You should just take the glide wire to enter over the orifice, have a visual inspection of the entire ureter, do
Yes,
endoscopic dilatation of the ureter, and have a atraumatic system so that when you do RIRS or when you do nephroscopy, you have fantastic vision and you can identify if there is a flat lesion.
Yes. Suspicious lesions and where we can take a biopsy.
Use the wire very roughly. Then when you go in, then it's a nightmare. Then there is no point doing that ureteroscopy.
Ganesh,
avoid the access sheet.
Yes, sir.
Ganesh, my question is, Ganesh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yeah. Now the question is, first question is, how easy it is, in such a case to do ureteroscopy or RIRA, because, there will be a bleeding, even if you do little, if you touch. So how easy it is to do URS or RIRS in such
Sir,
cases?
by literature, on bigger size tumors, it is difficult. But if tumors are flattish and well spread over or CIS-like lesions, I don't think it is difficult for a flexible ureteroscopy. And I think, Hiren, you should answer that
Yeah,
question.
so the centers which are dealing with malignancies day in and day out, they are even entering without guide wire, without access sheet, direct flexible URS. So it depends all on your expertise
And sir, what has happened now is there is one more
endourological management of upper tract.
Yeah. So at one end, we are having improvement in the scopes, in the digital viewing, and maybe more enhanced techniques to detect tumors. Secondly, we have risk stratified upper tract urothelial into low and high risk. So where the evidence is coming in for low risk, where we can still try to go for a conservative kind of management.
More than 5-year survival rates there, and patients are following up almost 5 years.
And on the horizon also is after this POUT study which has come, there is definitely an upcoming promising role of neoadjuvant chemotherapy.
Yes.
And when neoadjuvant chemotherapy role will come, we will need to have a tissue diagnosis. So tissue diagnosis can be given by two things. If it is a smallish lesion, we will need to do a ureteroscopic biopsy. And if it is a biggish lesion or a big lesion and we still need a tissue diagnosis, if a medical oncologist is not satisfied with the positive cytologies, we can directly take a CT or a sonography guided biopsy. Core biopsy. Core biopsy, coaxial core biopsy doesn't lead to a spread of disease anywhere. It is now well known.
Typically, you can take 3 top biopsies.
Hiren, let him talk. Just let him talk, finish his talk.
So coaxial biopsy can be done if there is a straightforward big lesion. Because again, I mean, this is a part of discussion in this case. The debate between neoadjuvant and adjuvant chemotherapy. Maybe we can take it at the end of the discussion. Like.
Yeah.
Hiren,
Okay, so
क्या बोल रहे थे? बोलो यार.
No, it's fine. No problem.
So Ganesh, in this case, in all the cases, you recommend ureteroscopy or RIRS?
Sir, we take a call, matlab. But in many patients nowadays, we are doing biopsies and giving neoadjuvant chemotherapy because what we see is that when there is a double kidney with a functioning parenchyma, although it has cancer in it, the ability to give cisplatin-based chemotherapy is very high, and the so-called response to the chemotherapy is too good. which does not remain after you do a radical nephrouretrectomy with a cuff of bladder and a lymph node dissection. So we are straightforward left with a single kidney, where if the GFR does not cross 60, ideally, that is the limit of cisplatin eligibility, 60. So you directly go in reduced cisplatin dose till 50 and no cisplatin after that. So this thought is coming up. There are pros and cons of this new adjuvant versus adjuvant chemotherapy, and this has been, I think, it is there in the up-to-date 2020.
Okay, so given the scenario like this, in this case, whether you recommend in this particular patient, they should say that they will do.
So, sir, actually, I was coming to that. The next investigation, like we discussed, ureteroscopy. So we should ask the candidate what else you will want to do, because by all these investigations, say, would you like to do, Aditya, a flexible ureteroscopy, or would you like to do a kind of just a urine cytology with only cystoscopy? Or you will add urine cytology, cystoscopy plus flexible ureteroscopy, because again, flexible ureteroscopy might add, say, 1.5 lakhs to the patient.
Yes, sir. So, sir, flexible ureteroscopy, as far, sir, I wouldn't like to do in this patient because.
So you tell what you will like to do.
Sir, I will, in this patient, I'll repeat urinary site. Actually, sir, I'll counsel the patient and no, I'll do a metastatic workup, as in that is left for this patient. I will treat this as of now. My aim is I'm treating this as
one minute. So,
yes,
Tanvi, metastatic workup negative?
Yes, sir. Hello.
So let's take it as negative. Prashant is presenting.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
It is negative.
So metastatic workup is negative. So how will you go ahead?
Report once. So we had done chest cuts in the CT scan of this CT scan only.
No problem. So we declare it negative, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, we have done a PET scan also.
Yeah.
Now the question is whether we should ask for a PET scan or not, or we can ask only for the X-ray, CT chest and bone scan.
Sir, there is an option of doing a CT chest and a bone scan only if alkaline phosphatase is high, and a MRI brain only if there are brain symptoms. That's it.
Okay.
Now, many people choose to do FDG PET CT, so they are not wrong considering India and economical and everything. But I think standard answer still would be CT, thorax, and SOS if needed bone scan.
Okay. So, but if someone asks for a PET scan, it is justified or it is not justified?
Sir, means in this patient you already done a CT urography abdomen pelvis, triphasic. So only thing mostly necessary is a CT thorax. So it is slightly, means it looks slightly over, but means you can't deny that a PET scan is a superior investigation, but it is extra.
Okay. Fine.
If you have a straightforward locally advanced upper tract urothelial cancer, like in the first shot, if we see huge nodes with a renal pelvic or a large ureteric lesion and big nodes 2-3 centimeters, I think I will give good weightage to a PET scan, FDG PET scan, because the likelihood of nodal and every disease being metastatic is very high.
Sir, a small question. If cystoscopy, cytology, and CT urography is giving a diagnosis, still you recommend ureteroscopy, or is this case to case based?
Sir, case to case based. Like today, we don't have level 1 evidence of, as I said earlier, new adjuvant chemotherapy. But it is a very promising thing which has come after the adjuvant chemotherapy trial has been successful to provide a DFS of a big one. The HR rate is 0.49. So there is a 51% better benefit with adjuvant only. But adjuvant with loss of GFR, we cannot give cisplatin in the urothelium. So I think in next 2 years, level 1 evidence of benefit with new adjuvant will definitely come.
So URS is mandatory in all cases.
They're not mandatory today. Today it is not mandatory. So on a case-to-case basis, where you would like to have a say, where you think the lesion is very small and you can maybe conservatively manage it, then you can just go ahead with it. Maybe manage the lesion at the same time conservatively with URS.
Sir,
Or
hello.
then
No.
you go for the
Question here is, if you are getting a diagnosis with histoscopy, cytology and CT urography, and if you are not getting a diagnosis.
So if you are getting a diagnosis in this particular case, the renal lesion we saw, which would look to the eyes at least like an high grade, we are okay with it. Like the problem is
Sir, only
upcoming problem. Like this is the last discussion actually in a series of upper track. That today the debate would be in between the neoadjuvant and the adjuvant chemotherapy, which I already mentioned that there are distinct benefits with the neoadjuvant chemotherapy. If we have distinct benefits, then we need a tissue diagnosis. So one of the ways is the ureteroscopy. The other way is in this also patient, I can directly do a CT guided biopsy of that pelvic lesion.
Agreed.
And literature also does say, as Gitesh sir said, that once you do a ureteroscopy, there might be a slightly enhanced chance of having a bladder lesion. So there are many people who try to do other maneuvers with it. Like some people have tried a balloon at the ureteral orifice, and some people have tried an instillation of mitomycin and various things. But there has been clear report of enhanced incidence of bladder lesions post prior ureteroscopy.
So role of ureteroscopy is only to decide actually whether apparent that neoadjuvant chemotherapy.
No, if there is a small lesion, if it is a low-grade lesion, low risk, you can offer a conservative thing. Secondly, if I say like this, if this patient has a bilateral UTUC,
yes,
what will you do? Will you cut both the kidneys?
No. We'll try to preserve it.
Then again, there is a role of ureteroscopy.
Solitary kidney, CKD.
You have to be very broad in thinking.
Okay.
And
so,
frankly,
sir, but for neoadjuvant, is it always necessary to get a URS biopsy? If I'm planning neoadjuvant,
I answered these two things already 2-3 times. See, first of all, neoadjuvant has yet to come in level 1 evidence. It has not come, but it shows a very promising series and evidence. Secondly, biopsy can be acquired either by ureteroscopy or a direct CT guided biopsy.
That is good.
So what are the factors you decide it is a low or high risk upper tract urothelial carcinoma?
Bolo Aditya.
Yes, sir. So, sir, it's a low grade on urinary cytology. It's low grade.
Low risk.
Then on CT imaging, it is not. It appears to be a lower stage, less than 2 centimeters. Then smoking, no previous history of bladder cancer. It should be unifocal, solitary, and less than 2 centimeters. There should be no hydroureteronephrosis, and in imaging there should be no other features such as lymph node involvement or metastasis.
So all of these must be present to tell it as a low risk. If any one of these is present, then it will be high risk.
High risk.
Unifocal less than 2 centimeter, low grade on cytology, and low grade on biopsy, and non-invasive features on imaging. All of these criteria should be present to label it as a low risk. If any one of these present, absent, so it will consider as a high risk, along with prior history of radical cystectomy for the bladder tumor, presence of hydronephrosis, and invasive features on the imaging in the variant histology. All these considered as a high risk strategy.
Accepted. So how will you go ahead with the case? Say, let's reboot. After a sonography and a CT scan, what now next you think after the discussion you will do in this case?
So, sir, in this case, I'll plan for radical. Sir, according to this new phase 2 trial of which you were talking about, EA 1841, sir, I will like to go for neoadjuvant in this patient. because of the benefits which you have already told regarding cisplatin. After removing one kidney, it might be difficult to give him cisplatin-based chemotherapy. Her. So MVAC 4 cycles I'll see. After that, I will again re-evaluate her. If she is responding well to it, then 2 cycles more, and after that I'll go for radical nephrouretrectomy with bladder cuff excision with lymph node dissection.
Template based.
So what is an advantage of neoadjuvant?
Sir, in neoadjuvant, according to the new phase 2 trial, which was recently published, sir, it is almost having 15% full resolution and approximately 60% downgrading of the disease occurs. In this patient, because the lymph nodes are also enlarged, so I am a little bit, and it appears to be a T4. So, the main advantage is after doing a radical nephrouretrectomy, the patient's creatinine, she might not be eligible for cisplatin. So that is the main advantage of actually neoadjuvant.
Now, in this patient, downgrading is going to be of any benefit?
No, sir. This appears
when
that
you
I'll
do
be able to do it.
downgrading.
If sir, it is a T4 stage, as in it is involving, it is invading the other organs. If there are a number of lymph nodes, if there's metastasis.
This is invading some organ?
No, sir. It's
Only the
perinephric
parenchymal
fat.
Yeah, then why are you calling T4?
The perinephric fat invasion is there, sir?
It
No?
looks like T3, sir. It is T3, not T4. It is involving the parenchyma only.
No, it's written in this.
And show the report of the CT scan.
Yeah, matlab, perinephric fat is T4. I agree with that, but I thought it was well inside, matlab.
Yes, sir. It is inside. It's not involving the perinephric fat, but it is involving the parenchyma. It is T3 disease only. Lymph nodes are not.
In sir, PET scan it is written there.
The PET
And also
scan,
in the image also, okay, sir.
I don't think PET scan is an investigation for local staging. Let us all try to agree on that point.
Yes.
PET scan, even Gaurang
Sir,
was discussing when we were discussing metastatic workup. PET scan, if you see, it shows a blotch of FDG. If that way you are going to discuss local staging,
no, sir.
Wrong.
In CT scan also, the lower border was a bit hazy. So that is the reason. But sir, okay, sir.
Okay. But CT scan report also didn't say that actually.
Okay, sir. I did not read it. Okay, sir.
So your downstaging is not very important in this case.
So downstaging is important when there is a metastatic disease and when we are palliatively going for the surgical. Then the downstaging helps to assist.
So,
Yes, Ganesh, you are saying something.
so who answered for the NACT?
Sir,
Aditya.
I did, sir.
Aditya. So Aditya, I mean, the problem right now is that although, as I said or you said recently about this study, it has still not, I mean, it is expected to come into the guidelines now, sometime. So once it comes, people might start using it depending on how much is the GFR. Because again, of all these things, GFR is not a mandatory investigation here. Up till now.
So in that case, one has to do renogram.
So sir, actually, it's not a mandatory investigation, but at our center, we do a DTPA renogram.
Okay.
See, up till now, if you go by the 2020, any kind of the guidelines, with such a tumor, the treatment actually for a high risk upper tract urothelial would be a nephrouretrectomy with a lymph node dissection and a complete bladder cuff excision. The lymph node dissection goes by the template.
Yes.
Whether it is the tumor is in the renal pelvis and it is high risk or the tumor is down as per that template. So in today's times, you don't need to do a pelvic lymph node dissection for this kind of tumor which is sitting in the renal pelvis and T3. Yeah, so that is it. And let us continue with the thing, this kind of discussion, because it is based currently on the probably AU 2020. So if this case is operated, we can go, and let us consider neoadjuvant a little later then.
Okay, okay. Fine. So what is the, Aditya, what is the treatment you have suggested?
So radical nephrouretrectomy plus bladder cup excision plus template lymph node dissection.
Okay, fine. Can you show? Prashant, can you show what we did?
Sir, we have done right robotic assisted right nephrouretrectomy, and we have done lymph node dissection. This is the.
So Aditya, what is the extent of lymph node dissection here?
Sir, this is a renal pelvis tumor, sir. So I'll take it till the from the renal hilar lymph nodes. Then this is the right side. So I'll be taking pre-cable, para-cable, retrocable, interaortocable till the inferior mesenteric artery.
And the top content, the top level?
Sir, top level.
Superiorly?
Sir, superiorly, sir. Sir, I couldn't pinpoint it, but I'll renal hilar till the renal vessels only, sir, because renal vessels only. Because
I mean,
as in
actually
RCC,
all the lymph nodes below the adrenal, actually, everything below the adrenal.
yes, yes.
And nowadays in UT, you see, you do the adrenal sparing here also.
Yes.
With the same principles as RCC.
RCC, yes, sir.
So, sir, can we just, can Aditya just tell us the template for each level? So that
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So for renal pelvis, ma'am, okay. For upper and middle ureter, ma'am, the template remains the superior level is from the adrenal, from the renal vessels till the common iliac bifurcation. Sorry,
Aortic bifurcation.
till aortic bifurcation. And for the middle ureters, it is still, it extends till the common iliac bifurcation. For the lower ureters, it is extending, it starts from the common, aorta bifurcation till the ipsilateral common iliac and the hypogastric obturator, presacral, and the external iliac group of lymph nodes on the same side.
Manish Bakshi, sir, correct?
Correct. There is a whole chapter on that.
Yes.
I think even Campbell mentions it now.
Yes, sir, Campbell
the
has
new
it.
Campbell, but I think it has a shaded diagrams of, and each side, I mean.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So tell me pre-operative and post-operative prognostic factors.
Ishwar.
Yes, preoperative prognostic factor number one, tumor grade, sir, stage of the tumor, and the age, BMI, and also performance status of the patient, and location of the tumor, and number or focality of the tumor. These are the preoperative parameters. In the postoperative, apart from stage, grade, and also lymphovascular invasion, lymph node status, and urethral positive ureteric margin status, and also involvement of the urethra, prostatic urethra. So all those are post-operative. And also tumor architecture and tumor necrosis. Tumor architecture and tumor necrosis in the post-operative.
Right, absolutely. There is another small thing actually, the way in which you manage the bladder cuff excision. That also goes towards prognostics, because it is said that the laparoscopic and there is some pull-through technique.
Sir, for lower ureteric tumors, it
plug technique.
Yeah, so they are both not good. There is a higher chance of recurrence.
Higher chance of bladder recurrence when we go through intravascular, like transurethral.
Plug technique and intersusception technique.
Intersusception technique.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Sir, there is
Santosh is asking what are the ways to manage bladder cuff. Santosh is not on the talk or what chat? I mean, verbal.
Yes, sir. He's co-host actually.
I'm here, sir.
Sir is on.
तो पूछ ले तू सवाल, अच्छा सवाल.
Just want to know what are the various ways in which you can manage the bladder cuff.
Sir, Santosh sir, just sorry sir to interrupt. just before this, there has been a small controversy whether to put intravesical mitomycin immediate post-op versus within 3 to 7.
So that actually comes after Santosh's question.
Okay, fine, no problem. So then, Santosh sir, sorry, so please continue.
I asked the question. What are the ways of managing the bladder cuff?
Yeah.
Okay, Aditya, sir, who wants to answer? Aditya.
So, yes, ma'am. So there's an extravesical approach, intravesical approach, transvesical approach, combined approach. So first in extravesical approach, what we do is we tent the first of all 1 centimeter around the bladder, the ureter entering the bladder. 1 centimeter cuff is taken. It is incised till the intramural part. After that, the ureter is tented up. And then the mucosa, the bladder cuff is excised along with it, and it is sewn in to. Then there's intravesical approach in which there's one plug technique. This can be done either before or after the procedure, in which with the help of a Collins knife, 1 centimeter around the bladder cuff, 1 centimeter of bladder cuff is taken, and that it is incised till the perivesical fat is seen. Then there is another technique, which is a transvesical technique, in which scopes are used. The bladder is filled and trocars are inserted into the bladder. And that first urethral catheter is passed from one of the trocar, loop is passed. Then through the loop that urethral catheter is passed, the urethral opening is grasped with that loop, and then surrounding it, the bladder cuff is excised. The benefit is that in normal, during surgery, the seeding, we can decrease the seeding because of that loop. And after, when the surgery is over, we can just pull it out. Then there's a cystotomy technique in which anterior cystotomy is made, and then it is done intravesically, and then the bladder is closed.
Combined.
Combined.
Do an anterior cystotomy internally, you cut, and you also have an external approach.
And the last is the laparoscopic through the stapler technique, which is nowadays used.
Which is moreover like your first technique, extravesical. You dissect laparoscopically, pull the tent, the ureter, and without seeing the curve, they just staple the across. Considering the bladder cuff has come with the ureter. So laparoscopic technique literature, if you read, there is still a chance of having a recurrence at those stumps.
Yes. The problem with this technique,
those margins.
Yeah, Aditya, very well answered. Just one suggestion is that don't try to keep your answer very short, and don't try to explain your answer. You need to lead the examiner. Just give the points and move away. Let them ask the question.
Techniques, 5 techniques we have to mention. Sir.
You just mention the 5 techniques and move away. Don't explain the advantages in your answer at that time. Keep your answers short and sweet. Thank you.
Okay, so Aditya, what is the role of this adjuvant intravesical therapy?
The intravesical mitomycin therapy. So there are two advantages.
There are 2 meta-analysis and 1 RCT for whoever is putting it on the chat. So, सबका result same है, बोलो.
So, sir, intravesical mitomycin or intravesical gentamicin, both of them can be used. There are 2 perioperative techniques. Either I can use it intraoperatively or postoperatively within 3 to 7 days. So the results that have been shown is it prevents the seeding, or during surgery the tumor cells which are shedded, so it prevents its implantation.
Local recurrence is prevented.
Yes, in the bladder.
So what are the factors which decide that this patient will have recurrence in bladder and this patient doesn't?
So presence of CIS, sir, in the specimen, and hello.
Yes,
sir. And presence of CIS and non-muscle invasive on the histopathology is also one of the things. And multifocality, positive surgical margins, positive ureteral margins.
So I'm sorry, who's answering? Who's answering?
It can be divided into patient specific, tumor specific, and
Yeah.
treatment specific.
EAU में दिया है पूरा आंसर, हाँ, बराबर पढ़ो.
पढ़ लो एक बार.
Okay.
The full answer is given properly. So
Okay.
we were on that intravesical therapy to prevent.
Yes.
So I just ask you statistics to the question asked by Geetesh sir, what is the kind of average rate of bladder recurrence?
Sir, bladder recurrence after the management of the upper tract urothelial cancer is 15 to 75%. So it is more.
25 to 50%.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, so synchronous bladder cancer is 17%, metachronous is 25 to 50%.
And contralateral upper tract recurrence?
2 to 6%.
Sir, synchronous is 2% and metachronous is 2 to 6%.
Okay. So ODMIT C was the RCT. So what does it say actually? Relative risk reduction of?
Oh, sir, I don't.
And there should be a time of installation. So in that trial,
Yes.
I think it is from 24 hours to 72 hours.
72 hours.
It is not in the immediately or first 6 hours.
Okay.
So Ganesh, in this case, we should have put the mitomycin.
Sir, we always put in these cases. In radical nephrorectomy at our place, we always put an intravesical thing. It goes by the level 1 evidence.
Okay.
So whoever is saying intraop, so there are some measures which you can do for an intraop thing also, sir.
Yes.
So which we try nowadays. I mean, we have been doing it for a few years maybe. So what we do is, if we are dissecting by say a midline incision or maybe by a laparoscopy, what you can do is you can dissect a small part of the lower ureter below the tumor and just apply a hemolock.
Okay.
So technically, this is a thought. So technically, when you move or whatever, push the kidney up, even though the cells dislodge with a hemolock there, you may not push it further down.
Okay.
Like you can see, we have put a hemlock on this specimen.
Okay.
So what in this, sir, what I've seen once is before starting the procedure, we empty the bladder and then we put intravesical mitomycin. And after that, we do the surgery and we clip the ureter. And when we are approaching the bladder cuff, then we the Foley's which was clamped earlier, we remove that clamp so that the mitomycin drains out. We put saline inside once, and then we proceed with the surgery as normal.
Okay, but
It's
then
an intraoperative installation.
you should publish your data because it's not a standard technique in literature, and you can't say that then.
Yes. Okay.
I'm sorry, but these things are what I'm telling are the tried things, and they are there in literature. Okay. I mean, I don't think examiner is going to tolerate everything of your technique.
So one question, since we have cut the bladder cuff and taken sutures, is it safe to put mitomycin?
Yeah, absolutely. Ekdam safe.
Okay.
So bladder is sutured in 2 layers properly. In fact, I think he was telling the steps. So you should always do a leak test after that. And it is safer to put mitomycin. Absolutely safe.
48 to 70.
So the only difference is in the bladder, when we put mitomycin, we put it in the first 6 hours. If not in the first 6 hours, up to 24 hours, they say that there is a benefit. And in the ODMIT C, it is 24 hours to 72 hours. So that is a small surprise part of it. But I guess topical mitomycin acts in the same possible way and tries to kill the seeded or the floating urothelial cells, which might still be around. So that's the whole logic is the same.
Yes, sir.
And there is a mention in some literature where Tanvi, actually what you asked, I mean, is it safe? So even the EAU says that a cystogram can be considered if there is extravasation, don't put mitomycin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But then technically, that is why I said that we do a leak test in all, and it should be seen.
Okay.
You just put saline or methylene blue at the end and just do a leak test. Any small leak will be seen through the bladder.
And then in that case, we decide not to put mitomycin.
No, when a double benefit is that if you see a leak on table, you better take 2 more sutures and stop that leak and then put mitomycin.
Later
I
on.
mean, at the right time.
Yes, sir. So should we show the histopath?
Yeah, histopathology.
So the histopath is suggestive of high-grade invasive papillary urothelial carcinoma of the right renal pelvis. Resection margins clear. Right outer lymph nodes which were submitted were negative and uninvolved. The tumor invades up to renal parenchyma. Pathological stage PT3, PM0, and PMX.
Yeah.
So,
So now what is next?
I have a question, sir, for them. What are the things you have to look for to say this is a complete histopathology report for UTAC?
Yes, Aditya.
Yeah, Ishwar, Aditya.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, the type of the tumor, then any variants in if there is any variant histology in this, then lymphovascular invasion, necrosis, surgical margins, lymph node status, and the pathological stage, and the blood.
Ishwar, you have anything to add? You're nodding your head.
No. Oh, okay.
Sir, is it correct?
Variant histology, extranodal extension, then necrosis in the tissue, more than 10% of the specimen.
Okay.
Sessile growth pattern is poor outcome.
Okay. So Prashant, is everything mentioned? Can you show the histopath properly?
No, why ovary and fallopian tube were removed in this case? It has been mentioned.
Sir, Ishwar, that was attached to the ureter at the lower end. So we couldn't dissect the ureter till the cuff of the bladder without sacrificing.
Okay.
Other end there.
Okay.
So we had to remove it. So Prashant, read all the points.
So I think all are there actually.
Yes, sir. Santosh, sir, you were asking
No questions. No questions.
So the cost factor is there, but what we also do is we send lymph nodes in regions in packets. So sometimes it's a use, sometimes it's a no use. That is debated. Question here is PT3 M0 because we have done a PET CT. So what will we do further?
Yes.
Ishwar, Aditya.
Sir, I like to give adjuvant chemotherapy in this patient in the
Which
form
one?
of
Which one?
Sir, gemcitabine cisplatin, sir.
But then now the question comes that the GFR is 40. So,
sir, okay. Sir, then
you should have said no. Then, if you have an intent of giving chemotherapy, everybody is educated here. You say then I would like to assess or evaluate or calculate the GFR. So that might be an eGFR. Who knows? And then you will then assess for, or you say I will assess for giving adjuvant chemotherapy since it is a T3.
Sir.
So give a complete answer. So that's okay.
Okay.
So suppose if we turn the case like if there were clinically N2 nodes. What is N2 clinically node?
So, greater than 2 centimeter nodes.
Greater than 2 centimeter. And had you had to give say new adjuvant chemotherapy as per the upcoming study, so how will you manage the case?
Sir, I'll like to say if she is cisplatin eligible.
Okay.
And after that,
there is a good chance that the patient is now going to be cisplatin eligible because apart from the tumor seen. This is not an obstructed kidney because of a distal or a middle or a upper ureter blocked by UTUC. And the kidney obviously shows a good parenchymal function apart from the tumor. So this patient is much more likely to be cis eligible.
Okay.
So you give GEM-CIS. Then how many cycles you give?
So 4 cycles.
So that is
4 cycles of GEM.
So that is extrapolation of the bladder data currently with the study which you said. So 4 cycles of GEM-CIS. Then
sir, I'll evaluate the patient again with radiological imaging.
So you do the same surgery or you do different surgery?
No, sir. The surgery will remain the same.
Surgery remains the same. But what happens because of NACT is you get an added benefit. Again, extrapolating data currently from the urothelial CAs of the bladder. So if we leave this all together and we come to the place where we didn't have a cytology positive, we saw a tumor in the CT scan initially, which was just 1 centimeter in the upper ureter, or it was say 8 millimeter in the upper ureter. So what will you do now?
So I'll aim for
We are
conservative.
again back to diagnostics actually.
Okay. So, sir, this is a low risk tumor. And
I don't know.
Yeah,
I said cytology negative, but cytology came negative, but it's a 8 millimeter tumor seen in the CT urograph.
So, sir, I'll first do a cystoscopy and ureteroscopy of this patient. I'll see the ureteroscopic findings. I'll take biopsy of the tumor, radiological image of the tumor, and then
the upper ureter,
the whole tumor.
Sir, considering the given scenario, it is a low-grade, low-stage tumor. So we do the ureteroscopy and ablate the tumor and then consider for installation of mitomycin.
Any other specific steps you will consider in the ureteroscopy here? Is Hiren there still?
Yes, sir, he's there, sir.
Okay.
Hiren,
Okay,
Hiren,
go on.
So, sir,
can you answer?
Yeah,
Elaborate on this.
sir, electropotry, I wouldn't like.
yeah, he's unmuted, sir.
Yeah, Hiren, can you just tell them how you are going to do in these higher centers?
What, sir?
Hiren, I gave them a scenario ki we discussed this case, but if we are coming back to the CT urography stage and we have a 8 millimeter upper tract tumor with a urine cytology which doesn't show anything. So how will you proceed was the question. So he said, I'll do a ureteroscopy and maybe look and do a biopsy. So I asked him, will you do an excision biopsy? So you be there in the discussion.
Yeah. So
complete tumor should not be removed, sir. It is for the whatever the visible tumor. The tumor should not be deep. There should be no deep resection, which induce the extravasation or leads to the perforation. Whatever the visible tumor is there, we have to take out either with a wire basket or with the piecemeal resection by the
So if I say like this, without causing a perforation to the ureter, if you are able to still excise completely, you should go ahead.
Okay.
No, I'm asking you.
I didn't get it.
I think so. Hiren, how easy or difficult it is to do that?
So Ganesh bhai, what I would say is that it depends on how broad the base of the tumor is.
Okay.
If it is a very broad base and you try to just wire it or basket it, you may avulse the ureter.
Absolutely.
So that should never be attempted. And there are specific baskets or biopsy forceps that one should know about. One is Piranha, which can go through, it's a flexible biopsy forceps that goes through the flexible scope, and it has a nice cup that can take the biopsy. So you should try to get a biopsy from the base of the tumor.
So Hiren, if just for, I mean, you are more experienced in flexible scopies than me, obviously. So if this is 8 millimeter, suppose if it has a doable base, would you laser excise it completely?
If there is a small doable base, then you should try to get it in toto. And in that case, you must use a tipless basket which can go around the tumor and snare it.
Okay. So we are not going to fulgurate or anything at the base or.
That is after removal, because when you try to
Okay.
fulgurate it, then you will not get the histology nicely. The first is to get that is what I was trying to say earlier. It is called tree top section, like we do in bladder, or you just go above the tumor and get it with the biopsy forceps, or use the cup biopsy forceps to get a good tissue build. Once that is done, then you can fulgurate it either with laser or wait and watch if the bleeding is stopped.
But what you will recommend, whether laser or coagulation with the cautery?
Sir, coagulation you cannot put through the flexible, so we'll have to use the laser only. And
okay, but ureteroscope?
Sir, even in that, sir, how will you put the if that makeshift cautery? If you do like through the ureter catheter, then I don't know how it will work. But best is to use laser. If you keep it slightly away from the tumor and use it, gets good coagulation.
Okay. And the Ganesh had asked, what are the precautions you will do during this?
So most important,
can you just guide them how they should in the exam they should answer?
Yes, sir. So atraumatic entry into the ureter. So first thing you must use. You should avoid dilating the ureter so that there is no excessive bleeding, or you are not able to identify the tumor nicely. So first thing is you do a atraumatic ureteroscopy. Try to dilate the lower end of the ureter endoscopically by using first the 4 French and then the 6 French ureteroscope. Try to avoid access sheath, because again that is going to cause bleeding or something, and try to enter with the wire causing minimal trauma to pelvic alasal system. So once the experience comes, you can probably go up with a flexible without a wire. That is what is preferred in most of the centers that are doing flexible ureteroscopy for upper tract management. They do not use guide wire, they do not dilate the ureter. They just go directly with the flexible. That comes with experience. You can enter the bladder and then go into the ureter directly without any wire, without any accession. But a check ureteroscopy should always be done, because that makes the entry of the flexible much easier. And then with a good irrigation system, you must gently irrigate so that low pressure system. Okay. To cause any extravasation or any trauma and feeding.
So Aditya, a similar lesion is there in the renal pelvis. Forget the upper ureter lesion. And once Dr. Hiren resects it, the histopathology comes CIS. We have surveyed all the smaller calyces everywhere else in the kidney and the ureter. There is no more lesion. So the thing which we got is a CIS. Now further, what will we do?
Sir, in this patient, further I will put intracalyceal. I'll call the patient every weekly for 6 weeks. I'll put a ureteral catheter inside, and then I will put instillation of mitomycin. Or
either surveillance of the patient just to follow up with a close observation, or use the BCG installation if it is CIS, which is considered as an high grade.
So CIS is obviously high grade considered. So BCG or mitomycin either is obviously indicated. So I don't think if I ask this question to you, it is with the purpose of that. The question is, which is the better one? Retrograde through a a single J stent or something like that, or a ureteric catheter, which is placed with a drip, or through a PCN?
In PCN, sir, again and again, putting the patient to scopy and doing ureteral catheterization, we won't be needing. So PCN will be better.
So there are some studies which say that actually PCN wise, it is much more superior. The contact is much more better than with the retrograde.
Sir, if it is high grade, why then mitomycin can be used, or only BCG we have to use, sir? Because mitomycin, whatever in the text they have mentioned, it is used for the low grade tumors. So it has been not mentioned for the high grade tumors. If it is high grade, what it has been mentioned is if it's CIS, it is any of high grade. So either to survival, that is of observation, or to use a BCG. Is
See,
it
for the
okay to
upper
say the
tract-
mitomycin also as the installation?
Yeah, so
sir, in
for the
such a
upper
case?
tracts, the evidence is level 3. So both have it. I mean, mitomycin and BCG. So technically,
BCG.
with the continuing from urothelial of bladder, we say BCG.
Okay, sir.
I would answer it that way.
Okay.
In this scenario which Ganesh sir has given, when you follow up the patient and do check ureteroscopy, you must certainly have narrowband imaging. So if it is
Okay.
CIS, it will definitely help you get the better
Multifocal
lesions.
and we have to.
So I asked you the question actually with another intent, and it went on between BCG and mitomycin. But a drug delivery system of mitomycin has been developed in 2018. It was marketed. A
Yes.
gel
So gel.
formulation
Yeah,
of mitomycin.
mitomycin gel or UGN 101.
Yeah. So what happens with the gel is it is liquid when it is at room temperature, but when it goes to a slightly higher body temperature, it is instilled in the calyx or the pelvis. It takes a gel form with this thing, with the temperature related.
Temperature.
And there are two ways how they have marketed it. Some gels, I think there are only 1 or 2 brands. I don't know exactly what is the way, but
Nitrogen.
it has a certain time and then it liquefies itself, or then you have to put a colder temperature or saline or something, and then it just gets out. So the contact time with the diseased urothelium is established in a much better way than a retrograde installation or a antegrade PCN installation.
Duration of the contact is more, sir. What?
Yeah, much more. So it is apparently more effective.
More effective.
What you said is correct. With the saline, cold saline, it liquefies.
Yeah, cold saline.
And in the chat, what he has said is
Olympus
correct.
trial.
Olympus trial.
Yeah, Olympus trial. That is true. But it is already marketed, I think not available in India. Mitrogel is marketed, was in AUA 2018, they had already marketed it. So, baki koi question I don't think is there. What are
Sir, if
other
it is so like
other ways of conservative management of UTUCs? Anything specific?
Sorry, sir.
Apart from this,
Another question, Ganesh.
Direct question. Low risk
Couple of times
UTUCs.
you have referred the cases
Ah,
where ileal conduit has been done, and now
Okay.
the patient has developed a malignancy in the kidney, upper tract. How will you manage?
So, sir, if that is usually throwing a positive cytology, it is a high grade tumor. Again, we can see the size of the lesion and then group it into low risk, high risk also. Accordingly, we should always screen the other system, like the other kidney, because bilateral is also a possibility. And if we can localize a high grade unilateral lesion, then again, this patient would probably go for a radical nephrouretrectomy. So in that, we remove the ureter as it inserts into the ileal conduit, because we can easily identify the sutured junction. And the same
But
lymph node
can we do
resection template.
conservatively if it is a small lesion?
The small lesion, you can always use a conservative measure. This is what is now coming in or has already come into upper tract urothelial. Smaller lesions, basically low risk lesions, you can give a conservative approach, because higher risk lesions, if you try to give conservative approach, unless they are bilateral, I don't think we are currently offering that. If they are bilateral or in a solitary kidney, then there is no option but to give a conservative approach.
And one more question. Suppose if the lesion is small, like involving only the calyx and the part of the parenchyma. So like in RCC, is there any role of partial nephrectomy in such cases?
So, sir, partial nephrectomy has been actually reported, but currently they say that this procedure is given up like. But it has been reported.
okay, sir. But in exam and in general, it is not part of any guidelines.
No, it's usually not done, but it has been definitely reported, like as a conservative measure. And again, if the another conservative measure reported is if the tumor is only on the renal pelvis, then you can even open or a laparoscopic resection of the renal pelvis and resuture it.
Okay, okay.
That is also
So
a
the same-
conservative measure because the kidney is not going to be affected.
Okay.
So the same thing can you do for the ureter nowadays?
Sir, I was going to ask that question actually. When do you do a
Please ask that.
segmental uretrectomy?
Okay, Aditya.
Yes, sir.
It's called segmental uretrectomy, and there is a clear-cut answer to that.
Yes. So, sir, in low risk patients in which we are doing conservative management, either endoscopic or segmental resection can be done. In high risk patients,
Endoscopic के options क्या है?
Sir, it can be URS, ureteroscopic guided, retrograde access or antegrade access.
Okay, fine. And in the current times, actually, it is laser section. But in olden times, like at TMS, we still have a ureteroresectoscope. It's like the TURBT instrument.
And sir, in high risk patients, if the patient is having solitary kidney, if there's a familial component to it, if there are bilateral tumor involvement is there, patient is having a known case of chronic kidney disease, in that also we'll prefer segmental ureteral resection.
So most commonly, low risk distal ureter lesions are managed with distal uretrectomy as a segmental uretrectomy with a pertaining lymph node dissection. So that much is there.
Pelvic lymph node.
Yeah, and in various ways, if it is a solitary kidney, ureter has big lesions, then your imagination can go anywhere. You can do a total uretrectomy with a lymph node dissection, with ileal replacement of the ureter or whatnot you can do. But these are all salvage and mixture procedures, like resection and salvage mixture procedures, reconstruction.
Okay.
So we missed one question you had asked, Ganesh Bakshi sir had asked. So what are the methods of different methods of conservative surgery apart from what we discussed, like URS and or RIRS? Other than that,
So he actually discussed it because the thing which Gaurangsha sir asked, partial nephrectomy is one of them. A partial resection of the renal pelvis is second. A
Yes.
distal segmental uretrectomy is the third one.
and so one thing, what other way can you do?
Okay.
Antegrade approach, endoscopic, but antegrade approach.
Yeah, uska bhi we can do we can put a PCN sheath and just do a TURBT through that, right? Something like a TUR.
Yes,
So using resectoscope or laser, we can
Yeah,
resect that.
directly from up. That
Directly
photo
from
was
the
there
PC.
in the earlier Campbell.
Yes.
We have done it a couple of times.
Yeah. Suppose if the ureter is too narrow, RIRS for some reason is not passing, or
So that can be done if you have a high risk bilateral tumors.
yes.
And pelvic or calyceal tumors.
Or then you have a low risk tumors in the pelvis or a major calyx probably, I should say. Because I don't think it will come in a minor calyx.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So one of the questions which remains is, if you have a upper tract tumor, what is the statistics in having a bladder tumor? And reverse. This is a common question.
The upper tract malignancy, after upper tract malignancy, the chance of bladder malignancy is 15 to 75%. And other way around, it is 2 to 6%.
Okay. So what is the management of a classic tumor which is jutting out of a, say, left ureteric orifice? It is 2 centimeter by 2.5 centimeter in size, and the ureteric orifice is fully stretched, but at one end, one margin, the ureter, it's on the bladder for 5 millimeters.
Still, it is on that side, it is a radical nephroureterectomy with cup excision. Complete excision of the ureteric orifice with intramural ureter. It should be radical nephrectomy.
We should just take care of the contralateral ureteric orifice. If needed, we just extend the cuff size. We take 1 centimeter more on that side.
Yeah, so I'll extend the tumor also on that side. So it is extending on 1 centimeter on the bladder, say more than half circle. And by your CT imaging or MRI imaging, it looks muscle invasive in the bladder.
Now will your management change, basically, sir is asking?
Because we see these cases 5 to 6 times a year. Very classical.
We can even do a partial cystectomy.
Partial cystectomy could be.
Yeah, so obviously with a nephroureterectomy, you will consider removing that whole part.
Partial
But when you start answering this, I would rather say that I would evaluate the whole bladder properly.
Okay.
Maybe I look for a CIS or a random biopsies in this particular case. Do a prostatic urethral biopsy, rule out everything, and then plan the surgery which you are doing.
To rule out pan-urothelial disease.
Yeah, if there is some multiple CIS in the bladder, then we have it a very high risk bladder lesion also.
So, Ganesh, in this case, when they are planning, if you are planning for the partial cystectomy, is it
Partial cystectomy matlab at the same place, matlab orifice ke around will remove that part.
so it is better to put a DJ stent on other side, or it is contraindicated?
Sir, ऐसा कुछ नहीं. You can put a DJ stent, or anyways you are opening the bladder. So to just save that orifice, you can just put an infant feeding tube. Have a nice idea as you suture, and before you take the last suture, you can just pull it out. Or you can put a DJ if you are. It's very near the resection margin, is very near the other ureter.
Okay.
In such a case, they mentioned they say that stenting to be better avoided because if reflux, there'll be the seeding. So when we are doing opposite side, so if we are putting the stent, so is there is a chance of seeding. Whether to tell us if stenting can be done or if sorry. So better to avoid. If
Is
possible.
there any role if of reimplantation of ureter of other side, if it is very near to other ureteric orifice?
Sir, if you already achieved a safe margin, then there is no role.
Okay.
For doing that, if you have to cut that part, then there is a role.
Fine. So now in this case, how should they follow? Yes, Aditya.
Sir.
We have done nephroureterectomy. You're saying that you will give adjuvant chemotherapy, correct?
Okay. So, sir, this is a high risk patient. I will do cystoscopy, urine cytology, and metabolic profile for 3 monthly for first 2 years, 6 monthly for the next 5 years, and then yearly. Also, I'll get a CT urography done 6 monthly for 2 years, and then yearly.
Perfect.
Along and X-ray chest also similar to CT urography.
Perfect.
And suppose if you have a patient for which you have given the treatment, which I discussed the case, and Hiren said
Conservative.
Conservative. So
Yes,
it was
surveillance check ureteroscopy to be done 6 monthly, and if we are done the organ preserving
so
technique,
you all should remember, Dr. Hiren said that
lifelong follow-up has to be done.
Check ureteroscopy should be done really early.
Yes.
3 months.
First at 3 months and then 6 monthly. And if we have done the organ preservation, the lifelong follow-up has to be done. It is not up to 5 years.
Right.
If there is a recurrence, what you will do?
In conservative, sir, in this patient.
Yeah, that is the scenario he has given, Dr. Ganesh Bakshi, there is a small tumor, right? And now if there is a recurrence, in that case, will you like to give adjuvant chemotherapy when you are doing conservative?
If there is a recurrence, sir, I would first see that why was conservative done. If it was just a low risk, low grade disease, then I'll better do a radical nephroureterectomy with cuff excision with lymph node dissection, template lymph node dissection. But if the cause was others, like a solitary kidney or that, then I'll definitely do a segmental resection. I'll prefer a segmental resection in that patient.
Otherwise, chemotherapy. Second.
Ganesh, what is the answer?
Sir, repeat it. Okay.
Not a fixed answer, sir, actually.
So initially, if it is a radical done, then we have to go for conservative treatment. That is sparing treatment. If initially sparing treatment, later on radical treatment. That is. Yeah.
Sir, मैं दूसरा एक scenario देता हूँ, which we also see commonly. So patient operated 2 years back with the operative notes of radical left nephroureterectomy. But if you read the details of the operation notes, the ureter finally has been removed as low as possible. Pathology report says high-grade urothelial disease in the upper ureter and pelvis. and the pathology says PT3 NX MX. Now the patient comes after 2 years with hematuria. Cystoscopy shows left ureteric orifice region tumor 1.5 centimeter in size. So how will you approach this patient?
Aditya,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I can repeat it in short. मतलब ऐसे कुछ.
Sir, I would.
This
So salient points were
distal stump with
radical
recurrence.
nephrectomy
This
2 years back. Ureter removed as low as possible. So probably here the problem is that pathology report says PNX, so the lymph nodes were not addressed. Earlier there was a upper ureter and renal pelvis high grade tumor. Lymph nodes not addressed anywhere.
We have to evaluate the patient, sir, and we'll have to do the
This
metastatic
patient
workup also.
has
We have
correct.
to
So
do the
another
metastatic
information is
workup
patient
first.
has not got adjuvant chemotherapy at that time.
We have to
Patient was
do the
not given.
metastatic workup first.
Okay, metastatic workup done, negative.
No, sir. I will rule out this urothelial carcinoma also in the prostate and the contralateral ureter. I'll do CT urography and
CT urography contralateral side normal, prostate cystoscopy तो तुम किया ही है normal.
Okay.
Completion
So,
of
sir,
the
So I'll list the problems for you. So in the earlier RNU, the bladder cuff and the last part of the ureter was, very small part of the ureter was not removed. There was no lymph node dissection done for the high grade tumor of the renal pelvis and ureter.
So
And
you
now
should,
after 2 years, there is a recurrence.
so you should treat it like a distal high grade.
sir,
Distal,
I'll remove
distal ureter high grade.
and I'll lymph node dissection templates, sir. I would like to include the previously which it was not included from the. I'll start from the renal hilum and then extend it to the ipsilateral iliac vessels and hypogastric obturator, presacral and external iliac also.
Okay, I have one small question. So for 2 years, the upper template lymph nodes have not increased in size. So do you think they are positive now?
No, chances are less.
And say if you do an FDG PET CT and see no lymph nodes in the upper template, which is a mistake, which is not done. I agree with that, but I'm just asking. We have a certain similar relation in penile cancer. If there is a recurrence in the groin nodes before 12 months and after 12 months. So similarly, now 2 years have gone. There is no lymph node in FDG PET by chance in the upper template, and you have a recurrence down. I mean, इसका कोई book answer नहीं है. I am just twisting your reasoning.
We have to complete the surgery, sir. We have to remove the remnant stump of the ureter and the extent of the ureteric orifice,
बोला sir.
and also consider for adjuvant chemotherapy because there might be
Consider it as a distal ureteric high grade tumor. Treat it like a distal uretrectomy with cup of blood with lymph node dissection of
lymph
lower
node
template.
dissection.
Okay.
Is it okay?
It is okay, sir. But as he said, I mean, he is justifying for a completion. So I will not be not okay with that also. I am okay with that also. I mean,
sir, in
on
such a
paper,
scenario, if there
okay,
is no
24 months, there is no tumor in the lymph node coming up. So we can consider that although there is a mistake, it is the patient is lucky.
Sir, if we are not doing in such a case, if you are not doing lymph node dissection, we can add for adjuvant chemotherapy. Like we can consider for the chemotherapy in such a scenario. If it is high grade T3 and resection with completion, and then go for adjuvant chemotherapy.
You can.
But you are going anyhow. You are going for you are doing a surgery. Why to avoid that lymph node dissection?
करके बोल रहे हैं ना?
Lower or upper?
Lower, sir. Lower, sir. Whatever the scenario is given, I am asking.
So anyhow you are going in to remove that remaining stump and cup of the bladder. So
complete the template dissection.
Complete the template dissection. If that comes, say PT2N0MX, then PT2 I'm saying because I gave the second scenario where 1 centimeter thing was there and it would have involved the bladder muscle.
Then follow up, no need of any adjuvant chemo.
So if I ask this small sub question, is there a need for a cystectomy?
No, sir, surveillance is better. So no need of cystectomy. If there is no recurrence in the nodes and if it is only the ureteric orifice is involved and the rest of the things doesn't show any like features, so
Okay.
we can just observe.
Okay, see, suppose if I just pull you more, if this lesion, which I said was 2.5 centimeter, had actually because of the stump recurrence grown into a 6 centimeter tumors spilling onto the bladder only in that area, but a 6 centimeter base, what will you do?
Depending upon the age, comorbidities of the patient and those considerations.
So after
So
ruling
both are
out
fine,
blood,
depending on the patient factors, the disease
Factors and
factors.
performance status
And
associated
I would also
comorbidity.
add very important factor is the remaining or a thoughtful residual bladder capacity. I'll take my decision because if I do a partial and if I leave him with a capacity of 200 ml, his life is going to be horrible. Then I might as well do a cystectomy or a additional cystoprostatectomy and just give a cutaneous ureterostomy. This is not a book picture or a book answer also. These patients are seen in real world practice, so that's why I say.
But it can be defended in exam also. It can be accepted.
ये accepted है ना sir exam में?
Yeah, 100%.
मतलब इतना तक discussion गया है मतलब gold medal आदित्य.
Only last hereditary upper tract urothelial cancer के बारे में, how you suspect this is hereditary or this is sporadic?
हाँ ये बोलो.
Depending upon the Amsterdam criteria, sir. And also one of the age of the patient.
What are the additional criteria? You tell some criteria out of that Amsterdam.
One is personal history of any malignancies related to the HNPCC, like pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, and stomach cancer in females, breast and ovary and the uterus cancer. And if there is any first degree relative diagnosed as any HNPCC related cancers in less than 50 years age, or irrespective of age, any two first degree relatives, then it is diagnosed and hereditary associated with HNPCC.
less than
In such a case, we have to do the genetic testing.
Okay.
First degree relative less than 65 years.
50 years.
50 years.
50
years. 50 years.
Age of the patient should be less than 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
तो HNPCC भी हो गया और कुछ I think है ही नहीं. India, is there any belt specific of having upper tract or something? Demographically?
जैसे stone है.
Yeah, जैसे gallbladder cancer is Ganges belt. That is what I'm asking. या फिर we say squamous cell cancer happens somewhere near Chiplun Ratnagiri type. नहीं तो नहीं है. मतलब there are not enough demographic studies in India. Simple answer. और कुछ बचा नहीं है लगता है. मतलब we have skipped metastatic urothelial cancer, but I don't think it will be a part of urological exam.
Yeah.
Usually नहीं रहता. Usually practical में नहीं रहेगा.
नहीं रहेगा. So we have covered almost everything in urothelial.
Yeah, almost
upper tract.
everything. Right.
Okay, sir.
बच्चा नहीं है.
Sir joined a little late.
Who?
Again, sir, you joined a little late. I mean, you were busy in the beginning. So I was just discussing with Ganesh Bakshi sir and Geete sir.
Yeah, no, I heard that. I think we should ask all the students, and if they are saying that whether to continue for next 1 month or not, number one, and if we want to continue, then which way, whether every fortnight.
I think best
or,
is students
like
can
that
give
one.
their own decision, so we can take your call.
So you put it on a group, okay? If majority is saying that we continue, okay, then we will continue.
There are 2-3 topics which are still remaining which we can do because exam is in March.
Correct.
So that, and also one more thing is because MCH candidates exam is in June.
Right. So they can also attend.
To to attend right now, in fact. तो वो भी थोड़ा
You better ask in both the group and take the opinion and request everyone to answer yes or no, so we know exactly.
Okay, sir.
सर गौरंग से सर
बोलो.
21st का डिक्लेयर कर दो.
हाँ.
Pardon?
Yes, sir.